What's up, men? Welcome to the Male Cartel podcast. Let's get started.
Do you think men are important? Like for what?
Men are not meant to be dominant. Men are meant to be submissive.
Life's too short to exercise. I'm just going to be honest.
It's okay to be fat.
Dispelling toxic masculinity and really redefining what it means to be a man. Men can cry. So it's okay to be weak. It's okay to be weak.
I'm telling you right now, not everybody wants to see you win.
You seem to be more woman than you are man. You don't have any manly qualities.
You give them this message that it's okay to be a man.
It's not okay, it's necessary. How are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up, these men, they're doing impossible things.
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Be a dangerous man. Being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things. You can't be a good man if you're not a dangerous man. You say one disrespectful thing to my wife, I am not only willing, but I'm able to inflict great bodily damage.
I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim. I can't explain it, but you better feel me. Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens, but winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture. What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Here's your host, Nick and Shane.
We were both sitting here laughing because producer Carell makes me clap into the microphone as a starting point every time. It's just a funny way for us to start. So we're both dying laughing here as we begin episode 17 of the Male Cartel.
All right, I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening. I'm going to be honest. All right. What Nicholas does oftentimes is not very manly. And literally, if you have the screen, if you're looking at me right now, are they on me? He's like this right here. He's like, hey. He's like, hey, I'm doing this. And it's
put the camera
so
on me
funny.
now so I can show. I have to go.
It is so funny. And so sometimes I pay attention, sometimes I don't. I locked into his brown eyes at that moment, and it totally messed me up. So
my eyes are hazel. By
Hazel.
The way.
That's all right. I had a grandma. My grandma was named Hazel. Hazel Gladys.
Hazel.
That's if I had another daughter, her name would be Hazel.
Well, there you go.
Just like your eyes.
Maybe she'll clap like this. The
Maybe she would. I'd rather my daughter do that than my son.
Well, at least I don't eat salads with my bros.
That's hey, listen. I got to go to that one spot, I can't remember that barbecue place, and get the meat sweats.
Yeah.
So
Dukes, we need to go sometime.
We got to.
It's awesome.
Dukes.
We went the other night.
Hey, man, you had something you want to start it with? Or what do you, hey, go.
So my dad, Papa OG Carnes, sent a message. It's too long to read on air, but I'll give the gist of it. He said that he enjoyed the podcast, whether the challenge is quiet quitting. This was from last episode, so if you've not listened or watched yet, you can go back. But essentially was saying that all of our efforts to self-improve 1% would be best, be carnal at best if it's built on just the pursuit of the pride of life versus being built in our identity of Christ. And he said, no criticism here, just an encouragement to not be timid to the unsaved men in your audience. They will not necessarily slip into their awareness that the missing part of their lives is Christ. And so it goes on and just essentially, encouraging. And so last episode, we had closed talking about our identity. This is who I am. This is what I do. I actually did a whole hour talk at the Men of Valor conference on that and was pointing men to their identity in Christ. And so, just wanted to highlight, because I got another feedback from someone that I'll share in just a moment, but very positive. But after, how long was that episode last week? It was like an hour 9, hour and 6. Yeah, we were kind of closing up with that thought. It wasn't really the really direct thought. And so, we're definitely not timid about sharing our faith in Christ. We know there are people from various different backgrounds, but absolutely, we agree with that our identity should be based in who we are in Christ and who Christ says we are. That's the starting point for sure.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Identities in Christ. Without that, I mean, that's who we are. That's what drives us to do whatever we do. From that, we exercise our faith from our identity and who we are, and we live that out. And so I don't know what your background is, if you a person of the faith, the Christian faith, or if you're just someone who is contemplating it, or even just thinking, or maybe you're intrigued, or maybe you have some other, to just find what we say entertaining or encouraging. Hopefully we have your respect, if you disagree with us. And I'm sure if you're listening, I'm sure you do respect what we say and things like that. But who we are as men comes from our love of Jesus, and the reason we do what we do is because of him. And so we are dead in our sins and trespasses, and then we're made alive, and now we're just storytellers for life is what we do, telling the greatest story. So,
but your identity is not coming from Christ if you pee on the seat in the bathroom.
100%. Yeah,
that's not a Christ-like thing.
You know what I noticed on this? The grocery cart buggies, the dookie necks that don't put the grocery carts on, and it says, I just noticed a few minutes ago, it says get 1% better every day.
That's right.
Even on the seat, bro. Even on the seat. Don't put your carts up, your dookie neck.
Well, it's like the dookie necks at the gym that I posted about the other day.
I saw that, dude.
Everybody, it's funny. Brent, one of our Male Cartel listeners, Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
They were all calling them dookie necks.
Dude, are you kidding me?
Ryan texted me, and he was like, bunch of dookie necks, and he's like, I could already see this is like the recap of the week for the podcast. I said, absolutely.
Man, I just don't know. I mean, like, that's what's wrong with America, bro.
I just go to the gym.
The gym, the buggies, it's just half-hearted everything. Laziness.
Peeing on the seat.
Dude, I was doing my pull-ups today, and somebody had hooked up those bungee cords, ropes that you do, Somebody had hooked up middle of the whole thing. I had to move it to the side. I was like, listen, number one, this is a hazard. Somebody could choke. They could be on there pulling ups, wrap around their neck, and they're getting hung, by a bungee cord. But why didn't they just undo it?
Right.
Like when they're working. This morning. So I had to move it and going, I had no problem. Yeah, I'm a man, I'll take care of business. However, like it literally took me about 20 seconds. That's it.
Yeah.
You put it up, put it back. That's it.
Well,
it ain't that hard.
And the guys who work at Gold's, where I go, nicest people, super friendly. There's one guy who works on the weekend, just super positive, and it's just like those guys don't deserve. It's not their responsibility to clean up after us, and they don't deserve that treatment. I mean, some days it looks like a mess. If you go, some mornings, because I get in there early from that like lake crew.
Oh yeah,
that's probably there hanging out, stuff like that, and just leave. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It's like you work out on the equipment, but then you leave it. So I'll clean up because I don't want those, the employees to have to do it. But it's an extra workout for me because I'm, kind of doing a farm walk with 45-pound plates from one end of the place to the other to put them up. It's extra workout, but it's like, come on.
The plates thing gets me. That's probably the thing I'm probably more stickler about it when I have to walk across the room to find another 45.
Yes.
And the 45s put on with a 25, and then the 10s are with the 2.5s, and they're all. And if you don't lift weights, just know that everything is scattered. The big weights are with the little weights, and they're all on these racks, and you have to go find them.
Yeah.
And then when I do, I'll find myself when I put them back, I can't put them back where I found them. I have to clean off a rack and re-put on the bottom rack. Organize because it will irritate me.
Yeah.
And so maybe I'm
OCD.
Maybe it's a problem. Maybe I have a problem. Maybe it could be me. And if you're listening, you think it's a shame problem, then just let me know because I need somebody to call me out if it is. I don't think it is, but if it is, I'm like, man, just put it back, bro. Put it back.
Well, those freestanding where the plates are,
100%.
I have to balance them. So if I put 45 on one, I have to put 45 on the other.
Dude,
if I put 25 on one.
No, dude. Right, bro. So speaking of working out, so I hurt my neck. I I have these elements. I mean, elements. I have these elements. Yeah, it is plural. I promise you, there's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of from my neck, from my lower back, mid back.
What do you got? Like LED bulbs?
I
Or,
do.
I mean,
I do. I need some, bro. I need some. And so,
elements.
I've been watching Medea movies way too many times, like way too many times. So, but my neck, I had hurt my neck, my right side back at the first of the year, and then still worked out and still did. You know, I couldn't hardly do anything. I had to get a steroid and all this other stuff, and it eased up. And 5, 6, and 7, C5, 6, 7 had issues with herniated discs from 4 years ago. Working out, being dumb is what it was.
Working out.
Yeah, it was dumb. It was just a dumb move. I felt really strong that day, so I did the whole lat pull down, the whole rack, everything.
Yeah.
I did it, got to 6 on that one, and I'm like lost form and everything, and so when I pulled back, it felt like somebody shot my neck with lightning, like a lightning bolt. I felt like I got shocked, and so I herniated in my neck, and my whole left shoulder froze up, scrunched all the way up, and muscle spasmed, and the muscles locked up, and within 24 hours, it was bad. So then I've just always been careful with my neck, and still do stuff. But anyways, I heard it in January, and felt a little bit better, and then literally 2 weeks ago, I did shoulders, traps, everything. And one time, and then I ended with pull-ups, and I did regular pull-ups, chin-ups, and then I did, I don't know what they're called, but kind of the inside pull-ups.
Yeah.
And so, and I dead hang. So those who are listening, I just dead hang my legs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then like they do in the military. And so I did that, and when I came up, probably on the 4th one, I literally had shotting pain in my left side. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Same side that you had injured?
Yeah, but I knew it wasn't a disc. It didn't feel like that. It felt like something happened with my muscle. And so I went to the bathroom, washed my face. Like, I was just trying to collect my thoughts is what I was doing. Wash my hands, did that type of thing. I was just trying to buy some time. Sometimes when you work out in the gym, sometimes you just find yourself wandering around in between sets. And so it was like that. I was like, oh no, what happened? And I went to the gym, I went to the bathroom, and I was like, oh, what's happening? Anyways, I felt I had a big giant knot on my muscle, my trap. So immediately I started Googling, could I tear a trap muscle type of thing?
Yeah.
So
probably came up a tumor.
Yeah, it was something, dude. It was elements. It was elements had happened. And I ended up, lo and behold, tried to do one pull. Well, I couldn't do anything. My left arm just locked up halfway. I was like, I don't know what's happened. So went back on a treadmill to finish the workout, did my thing, went home. I went back to work, did my stuff, and my arm was bothering me. And so about 2 or 3 days later, it was irritating me. I didn't want to go to doctors. Lo and behold, I have a buddy of ours in the church who is just an awesome guy, and he does dry needling. He's a physical therapist, works for Center, and so super awesome guy. So I went to his house, opted to do that versus get me a cortisone shot and like all this medicine. So I was like, I don't need medicine. I'm gonna try this out first, because what I was reading was that you could have all these like stress knots and balls, and then how you're through a muscle strain, and just how the muscles in the trap in the neck and how that works.
Isn't that what like massage therapists work out?
They'll work out like your, like what they do, like a deep tissue, trying to get the knot out.
Yeah.
But this is different, dry needling. So I went to his house, check this out, and then they have a needle, okay, and then they grab your pressure point. I'm looking at producer Carell right now. He may vomit. Shaking his head.
We need to turn the camera on him.
He grabs. I lay down, take my shirt off.
Have y'all ever seen a black man turn green?
He's looking kind of green. Incredible Hulk. He grabs my trap muscle, and lo and behold, then he sticks a needle in it all the way in, and then he moves it a little bit and it hits that knot, and you feel it. You feel it, dude. Like it's pain. It's like a deep, deep pain. As soon as he hits that, it hits that nerve deep, then it automatically takes that knot, and it begins to shake, vibrate, and then it quits because it loosens. It gets it to kind of regenerate type of thing. Anyways, so he did, and he said, "Man, are you feeling anything?" And I said, "Oh yeah," and he said, "Man, I'm really beating you up. Like I'm beating you up more than I beat anybody up, but you can take it. You're like made for this." And he says, everybody else, they don't do this. And he was like dogging people at the church that I serve in and saying that when I've done them, they just whine and cry and stuff. And I was like, well, I ain't Shane Padgett, number one. So, and I'm just letting you know, I'm the toughest dude I know. And so, like, honestly, that's only that I can pride. I'm not smart, but I'm tough. And so I've sewn myself up too with needle and thread and dip the thread. And I'll save $150 by sewing myself up. I won't go to the hospital. I'll sew myself up with needle and thread. And I've done that twice.
I've waited to have a wound like Rambo had so I could just use the gunpowder.
And just slide it.
Yeah.
All right, so
I've waited my whole life for
so
that.
he did all that, and he did the money shot right in my neck. Right, he made me lay on my back, which I didn't know. I thought all those needles were still in me. They weren't in me. So I was a little freaked out. He said, "Hey, I want you to get up, and I want you to lay on your back." And I'm like, all those needles are we pressing in my back. I didn't know what was happening.
That was acupuncture.
So I know. So I lay down, and then he did the money shot. Anyways, when I stood up, I was a little lightheaded, and he probably got me about 17 times. And stood up, and he says, "All right, let's check your movement." And so I looked to the left, looked to the right, and I went all the way down here. Now it still hurts now. Like doing this right there hurts, but I promise you, I couldn't. This is as far as I could move. Before I did that, and I was like, and dude, I said, "This is magic." Not that I believe in magic. We'll say illusion, but I was like, "Man, this is like amazing, dude." So I'm letting you know, I can clap like that, dude. So I'm gonna let y'all know, I'm now a believer. I'm a believer, dude. I am like literally, my neck, it hurts, a little bit, but I'm telling you, man, it's like magic. And he says it within 3 days. Now my shoulder, bro, it felt like somebody took a sledgehammer to it. It literally felt like it was beat up. Like
After
literally,
he was done.
Oh man, bro, for 2 days, it felt like. Now I still went to the gym, loosened up. Once I got it kind of loosened, you can't take any pain medicine or anything like over the counter medicine. He wants that to work its way out, and it did, man. Literally, that happened. I went on a Thursday, and by Saturday, probably afternoon, my shoulder and my neck felt better, and you could see my with my shirt off, you could see a lump on my trap. It was so inflamed, and it had built a lump. I was worried like it tore a trap muscle.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, man. I mean, it literally. I think I'm addicted to it, man. I'm gonna have to go to Dry Needling Anonymous out there because I'm like, you know what? I got a problem with my leg now.
Now
I'm about to
everything.
go. I need to buy me a kit. I'll do it myself.
Might have to try that and see how tough I am. That's
Dude, you need to do. If you get it, so next time you get hurt, I know there was some time that you had.
I've
your shoulder.
I've got some pain in my.
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a live episode. We have to or do a reel or something, some spot with you getting it done. But I'm a believer in it now, dude. It had won me over. It's kind of like I'm smitten by dry needling now.
Were you talking about not being very smart but being tough? I was thinking that this morning because one of our Hope pastors put in our group thread something about, does anybody know of a book or whatever? And I was just getting home from the gym working out, and here he is at the same time worried about a book. I was like, you could be in the gym.
That's right.
You could be training and getting fit, but you're getting smart. And, there's a time and a place for that. But that's like later in the day. Get up early and go to the gym. Don't be worried about a book.
So do you know why that? Do you guys know why that's a good idea? What Nick is talking about? Because you will talk. Don't trust yourself. If you don't go to the gym early, you don't do some things early like that, you will procrastinate and you will not find time. Especially if you are a motivated guy and you're busy, like you're just trying to make things happen, you're going to just get busy and it's just not going to happen.
I can't imagine waking up at 5 a.m. going, what book do I need to read today?
Bro, that's a negative. But we'll figure that out about 10 a.m.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, get you a snack. Hey, before I forget, last Wednesday, 1 week ago today, I was with the state champions North Oconee High School. So shout out they want me to give them a shout out. They listen.
Nice.
Head coach listens to the podcast. He loved Coach Powers. Loved the episode. Last episode, they were he said he was laughing a lot on our conversations, banter. He loves it, and so just want to say another banter we person. So man, we are grateful for North Oconee basketball team.
Congratulations, North Oconee.
So that was a great experience. I got to go on the floor behind the scenes and share a word and try to encourage the team, and they got the dub. And so I don't think that I helped them in that at all. However, I was more support for some of the coaches, and it was a fun time. And
you were there doing like the pregame.
I did a pregame speech,
speech and all.
Yeah,
you
so
just
it was good.
Say you're a coach.
So yeah, they made me an honorary character leadership coach type of thing. So they did for the team.
Coach on the championship team.
No, I wouldn't say that though. But I know some people will take credit for stuff like that. I'm not one of those. And if you're one of those people that take credit and you're just trying to find and weasel your way into taking some type of credit for something that you didn't do, that's just lame, man.
It's like
that's
me taking
so
credit
lame.
for my wife giving birth to our kids.
Bro. Yeah, but like, well, I helped her out with it, you know. And I don't know, man. I just think that's one of the lamest things you could do.
Nikki was in labor with Gavin for 14 hours.
Oh, Gavin.
And I played Xbox. The
Dude,
whole day.
That's so funny.
I brought my Xbox into the hospital room because they had to induce her, so
It's
we were there
boring.
all day.
That's like because you can't leave because you're
Right.
a good husband.
But all these guys thinking to be a good husband, you got to be standing there the whole time. She probably wanted nothing to do with me, so I was like, I'm going to play Xbox. So I brought my Xbox up there and connected.
Did her
it.
mom show up too?
Yeah, her mom showed up later because I think she had to work that day. We were there all day because he was already almost, I think, 2 weeks late. He was late, and then he ended up being too big to be natural birth, so it was an emergency C-section. There was some Friends episodes she was excited to see, some wedding or I forget what it was, but they took her back when the show started. So all day she's there, and they were like, hey, if he hasn't come by 8 p.m., we're taking you back for an emergency C-section. That's when the show was coming on. That's all I remember. And then somebody actually was making a comment the other day. Was like, was Nick in there? Because it's like a surgical procedure.
Yeah, that's right.
And she's like, yeah, I mean, I don't get woozy at that type of stuff. Like we were talking about producer Carell last week with the squirting blood and all that. That stuff doesn't bother me. But they made me sit down in case I was that kind of guy. But I was like, I'm a real man, and so blood doesn't bother. There he is. He's waiting me off again.
Did you take any of the blood?
He's going to quit switching the camera on me.
Did you put like people when they kill their first deer, they put blood on their face? Did you do first child? You just went, yes.
Yeah, I came out,
marked up.
My first son, my first child.
Let's go.
Hey, speaking of working out, before we move on, we did get a message yesterday. I did from Michael, who is a part of the Male Cartel up in North Carolina.
Okay.
And so he said he sent me a message asking if he could ask me a question.
Okay.
He said it's basically like Male Cartel type question, if that matters. So he's asking about, he's seen where I get up and I'm in the gym at 3:30. How much do you normally sleep? So I answered those questions and basically was just telling him, and I wanted to share this with everyone just for their own sake, because we talk about going to the gym and working out. It doesn't have to be that early. If you're into going when those, young guys are in there and they're doing the videos and the selfies and all that, that's cool. My gym gets way too busy to be in there at that time. It's too crowded. And then as well, you've got, the mess that a lot of the young people leave. So I essentially was just telling him, the one, consistency over perfection is key.
That's right.
Discipline is the main objective. Being disciplined in, if you're going to get up early, you have to say no to some things. There's been times people are like, hey, you want to come hang out? And I have to say no, or we're going to leave early because I need to be home to be in bed by a certain time to get up at a certain time. Same thing with food. Like you're going to say no to certain things or not say yes as often, because if you want to be at a certain level physically, then there's going to be times you have to be disciplined in what you eat. And so anyway, he just replied saying that made sense. And, he's been around some people who essentially justify kind of like the dad bod and things like that. And I said, you're not going to get that justification with the Male Cartel, which he knew. But he said this about us. He said, I'd say he said he's grateful for finding the Male Cartel. I'd say it's becoming intimidatingly inspirational. I love that.
I never heard that. That's awesome.
Inspirational. And he's feeling challenged to prioritize his health more. So he thanked us for the podcast, and he said this: y'all are excuse killers. So I love that.
Hey, that's awesome, dude.
That was
The excuse killers. Let's go.
Intimidatingly inspirational.
Never been told that before, and that is awesome. So great. So in case somebody's wondering, I usually go work out. I start between 6:30 and 7 most days, and then I am done by 8:30. I try to spend about an hour and a half in the gym. That's usually how it is. Now, sometimes I'll get in a phone conversation, or if I have more time with my family's doing something, then I'll just do more like a cardio towards the end and just walk. But that's how it works. There's really, the gym is like today, there might have been 3 people, and I work out at a local Y, and there might have been 3 people. But if you go earlier, it's slammed.
Yeah.
Like from 5 to 7, it is 2 days a week. Mondays, usually Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays and Fridays are slammed. Wednesday, this is usually kind of empty.
Ours is kind of that way.
And so, but I'm going to tell you, from 6 on, and I heard that 5 is pretty stout as well. Saturdays, slammed. I'll go first thing when they open, and I'm out by I'm just in there for an hour on a Saturday. We just started opening up the gym on Sundays, and it is packed. And so I only do cardio if I'm there for an hour Sunday. If I can take a lunch break, I'll do an hour and do 30 minutes cardio. I'll do nothing but push-ups and pull-ups and nothing else.
Yeah, well, the Y staff, they're sound asleep at 3:30 because they don't open till 5, right?
Yeah.
And then like 1:30 on Sunday.
They open up Sunday at 1, and then it ends at 4.
Yeah, it's very short. That's why I moved away from the Y, because
crazy.
it just wasn't working with my schedule. So,
but I enjoyed that. But there has been moments where I wished I've woke up in the middle of the night and I'm not tired. And if I'm not tired, I don't go back to sleep. So I wish I could go to the gym, because I'm like,
I'll
let's
sneak you
go.
in at the Gold. Just send me a message.
Dude, I will, man. I'll sneak up on that. We'll do Male Cartel at the Gold's Gym at 3 a.m.
I'll go distract the person working.
and I'll just come in.
We're just playing, y'all. We're not talking about doing anything, fraudulent.
Yeah.
So anything else going on?
I'm coaching flag football, 9 and 10-year-olds.
How's that going?
So far, good. We've had 2 practices because of the rain. We got our first game is next Friday. So do I think we'll win? No, I think we'll get slaughtered. But I will coach my heart out with that 9 and 10-year-olds. And my goal, everybody makes it to the playoffs. So if you hear me, we'll check back in the next month or so. My goal is for the team to get better and better and better and better. So by the time we get to the playoffs, we can really turn it on. So I may not even open my playbook, because most of those kids may not know the playbook. But hopefully we can insert very vanilla plays. And then I have Daddy Mike. He's helping me. So
nice.
And his son Mike Jr., he went to Georgia Southern, and he is my OC, offensive coordinator, officially. And Daddy Mike is he's kind of everything. He's kind of like an assistant, player personnel management. He's also assistant offensive coordinator, assistant defensive coordinator. He actually was out there. He has a torn rotator cuff, and so he can't throw the ball but underhand, and he still doesn't want to have surgery. So he's rushing the passer, trying to get our guys, and then he's in the midst of it, dude, just going. So I'm real proud of him. And
can I be your character coach?
You can be, dude. Listen, you got to show up one time, and then you can claim fame to winning the whole championship.
I identify as a 10-year-old.
You did what now?
I identify as a 10-year-old.
But then you could play, bro.
Okay.
You can be on my team. I need a quarterback. The problem is the quarterback can't run out the pocket. He's not allowed to run past the line of scrimmage.
You need me to be the receiver or something, because if I'm the quarterback for 9 or 10-year-olds, they're probably not going to be able to catch it. But if they can throw it, just get it up.
Just get it up.
Yeah.
But we got a guy on our team. He's 10 years old. He's fast, bro. he's faster than me. And I want to see how fast the kids were. And first practice, I set him in motion, did all this like defensive plays where we can pull flags. And oh boy, fast. And I went, okay. All right.
Receiver or
he is 10
back?
years old. Yeah, he's got to be running back. He's got terrible hands. So, like, he's got to be running back. But he is fast, bro. He's got some wiggle. And literally, I don't know anybody because we did evaluations, and I saw all the players. I don't know anybody that can catch him. And the people that are fast or shorter or as fast as him or shorter. And he's tall as my kid, Andrew. My boy, Andrew, is like a middle schooler. And he's so big. And he's like him, but lean and just like lightning in a bottle. Nice. Literally. And he's very well respectful and all that. He's just a good kid. But, man, you ain't going to catch him. He catches that ball, boom, 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 boom. He's gone. Dude.
Yeah, and flags can be hard, on a fast kid to grab.
Oh, man. He just was. And so it's going to be fun. So I'll let you guys know. I worked out a trade. We were going to be the Razorbacks. And then I traded one of my kids. I have no idea who this kid is, but I traded him and for another kid who I graded out to be a 1-star. And I gave a 3-star for a 1-star and my name for the Gators. And so I was like, I'll take this if you could throw something. I'm a Gator fan, so I got the Gators.
So you chose a lesser player like the Florida Gators so you could be the Florida Gators.
Yes.
Look, I'm going to give you a 3-star for a 1-star just so we can be like.
And my lesser player is not. He's one of, and I think I messed up his grade. I literally was like, I think I graded this kid wrong, but the kid's not bad. The kid's not bad. He's not as bad as I thought. We have a girl on our team, and she is like cute. She actually looks just like Haley. We get a team picture. I'll show you. You'll go, wow. She looks how Haley looked when she was like 8 years old.
Haley's actually got good hands. She can catch.
Oh, yeah. This little girl can catch, too. I'm like, man, if she scores. I told Andrew, I said, and my boys, it's funny because they went, my Sawyer's like, is it okay? I think so-and-so is cute. I said, yes, sir. Like, she is cute, bro. Like, she is. She's the cutest little girl. And she's fast. She got wiggle. She's fast. She's like, I was like, that's awesome. I mean, like, flag football is a big deal with girls today.
Yeah.
So, girl sports. So, yeah. All right, man. Do you want to get into this thing? You got anything? What happened last week? Anything happened with you besides, like, you calling out all these Dookie necks?
That's it.
How's everything in church? Good?
Going good.
How's producer Corell doing?
I don't know. He's very quiet today. He gives us a thumbs up. So
I heard I saw him cut you out last week.
2 minutes, about 2, maybe a little longer of last episode on the video.
The comment.
So I had to go in and grab footage from one of the cameras and insert it because I would be talking, but he had camera on you. So he either liked your outfit or he was upset with me. And he can't really voice it because he's afraid, since I'm his boss. But I mean, in this regard, we're just friends, I thought. And then he just completely cut me out.
Well, you know how some people are. They say you're friends and they'll stab you in the back.
Stab you in the back. Well,
as soon as they leave the room, they're going to talk trash about you.
Didn't stab me in the back. He just felt like I didn't need any camera time.
That's right. No camera for you. No soup for you. No camera for you.
But no, things going good at church. We had group link, had about 70 people sign up for that and attend that.
That's awesome.
So a lot of new young people, and some of them are just, hungry for the word. And that's one of the reasons they said they've stuck with us because we preach the word. So it's really exciting that we are seeing some good things. So,
boom. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. To be honest, on today's topic, I hadn't really put much thought into it other than just personal experience, but I saw this and I sent it to you and said, we need to kind of talk about this.
Yeah, this is awesome.
And now it just switched off, but it is essentially talking about finances. And when we talk about we as guys and we as men being leaders, I mean, this falls right into our responsibility. And obviously, we know that there are challenges in our country when it comes to finances and the inflation and things like that. I know I've made some foolish decisions earlier in life, early in marriage, when it came to like credit card debt and things like that. We made a decision that when we had children, Nikki would stay home to raise them. It wasn't something I made her do. It's something she and we both were in agreement and she wanted to do. We never said like she had to do that, but that was part of what she wanted to do as well. And so before that, we were both making good incomes and we were doing well. Always had money in the bank. Never, it was never paycheck to paycheck. But then when she was leaving the workforce, in my mind, I was like, I've got to make up for her income. Not we need to curb our spending and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, when you make more money, you get used to living in a certain way. And oftentimes if that money changes, you can actually live on one income. You just got to be wise, you know, and cut out luxuries and things like that. I was young, didn't, do that. So went and got into a sales job, and it was essentially full, commission. No base salary or anything like that. Well, it was selling Aflac insurance, supplemental insurance. Well, I didn't know at the time that it was just open territory. Everybody's like a personal business owner. So anyone can go into any business in the state of South Carolina. I was licensed in South Carolina. I was going to get Georgia license, but wasn't necessary because I would go all through South Carolina, not making any money, not having, spending what money we had for gas to get places, trying to, make sales. And so when the money wasn't there, we're having to live off credit cards essentially, just to make ends meet. And so foolish decisions, there were wiser decisions, but I saw this and I sent it to you. I said that, we should talk about financial responsibility. There was a report that was released on the news, this was on news, that was saying, that household credit card debt increased by $50 billion in just the fourth quarter of 2023. So in just, 3 months of closing out 2023, the average household credit card debt increased nationwide by $50 billion. So essentially people are living off of credit cards. I mean, either that or they are so enamored with stuff, they're so like got to have the newest this or that they're just putting it on credit cards, vacations, whatever that might be, in anticipation of paying it off at some point. But this is an increase. So it's not just like normal spending. It's like it's grown that much. And that's pretty alarming, but it also puts obviously there's an issue when it comes to our households and having financial responsibility. What's your thoughts when it comes to some of that?
Oh man. Yeah, when I hear that, makes my heart sink because I get it. I think that inflation and the cost of everything has gone up and it is what it is. I wondered if it would happen after COVID because we had all this bonus money, if you will, thrown at people. And then things were on freezes and, a lot of things happened to the economy. And then when the dust settles from that, we're now seeing the influx of inflation and things costing more. And obviously there's some things that have decreased over the past 2 years. And now it just kind of catches up. And what happens is, habits form. And, they always say that if you want to have some discipline, it's better just to start off with some habits, and good habits form better habits. And that in return can help with discipline. I don't think it forms discipline. I think it helps to form a discipline, but I don't think it creates discipline. And then some people differs in that too. And so I think you could be nitpicking. But in saying that, the reason I say it is because people get so used to having habits, like what you mentioned, of able to go by. And man, if you went by Chick-fil-A and got you a number one, you did that 2 or 3 times a week for a whole month. I mean, bro, you can be negative $120. Right. It just will happen. Negative $20. And if you don't have that in the budget, you're then paycheck to paycheck. Excuse me. Then next thing you know, you'll be, you'll be in debt. You times that by 12. I mean, you're looking at $1,200 something, and then on top of that, I mean, $1,400, and then you have interest on that if you don't pay that. And so that
interest now is like almost up to like 30%.
That's right, 30%. So what we do in our home is we just pay we pay the credit card off every month. I've been doing that since I was married, and like you, made some dumb decisions, but not knowing better. Like, honestly, nobody teaching me anything, and was always a good money. Like, I always lived in an envelope system. My grandma taught me that when I started having money at 12 years old. And so I've always had the envelope system. And then I remember reaching a low point, and family members took out a loan in my name and through work, and that's how my family did. And they never paid the loan back. So I got all this debt, and then I took credit cards out. And then I remember they encouraged me to take credit cards, and I did, and just put gas on it, and I would pay it. And then I owed this other money, and so I was borrowing money here from Peter to pay Paul, and then doing this, and I kind of got caught up. And then I took out a loan for school for a year, and then when that dust settled, I was like, whatever I do, I'm gonna work hard before I get married to pay everything off. And I paid everybody back. It was like $27,000 worth before I got married. All my money went to that, and I drove a '97 Isuzu Rodeo, and plainest Janus vehicle you ever seen in your life, and lived below means, eating hot dogs every day, and I love hot dogs. So to me, even that is a treat. Give me a bag of Funyuns and some hot dogs and a loaf of bread and mustard, dude. That's like, I'm living like a king. And
the red, like, chicken meat hot dogs.
Yes, sir. Let's go. And so you get them Guatley dogs, and so then the Guatley dogs were like 69 cents a pack of hot dogs, 8 of them. So but yeah, I mean, short story long. Yeah, I think it's sad, man. I think we got to get a grip in it. But it's funny you brought this up when you sent it to me. I went, let's go, like, because I just been having conversations with men the past several weeks about finances. It's literally like from the last week's episode, 2 weeks ago, episode 16 to now. I've had so many conversations, people asking for advice. And then I give them my 2 cents, and that's probably all it's worth, is 2 cents. But I give them what I know and the wisdom that I know. And if you don't have wisdom, then you need to ask for wisdom. And so, so I think this is really good. And I've seen it, and I've got some stories. I got a story I could easily share who I think is like the craziest. When the story came up, and I was in the midst of it, I was like, Nick, I was going, wow, I really don't know what to say. And to this individual, I couldn't really say anything to him. And so, but I have a story that's like crazy. You want to hear it real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to try to say it in 60 seconds because I want to kick it back to you. I did marriage counseling, premarital counseling with a couple because of their jobs. Income was about $325,000. Okay. So almost a third of $1 million a year. Okay. We talked through they scored low on a grading scale of like some complications and things that we need to talk through. Right. So it kind of gives you some things to talk about. And one of those was a stewardship, was finances, was going to be an issue in their marriage. And so she loves to spend, and he loves toys. He loves to go do things, big hunting trips and all this other stuff. And she loves, shopping and everything else. And said and laughed about it, but I may have a problem. Built a house, did all this stuff. And so make a third of $1 million a year. And so told me they drop a few $20 in the plate on Sunday morning just to give a little bit to the church. Because I was thinking that much money, if they gave 10% to the church, a tithe, I mean, they're giving 30, giving some money, right? $30,000, type of thing.
Very helpful to the church.
That's right. So I was just thinking, I said, so I wasn't even saying the church in general. I was just saying, how's your giving? Generosity towards things. Didn't want to get I didn't feel like it was my role to like push that on them. Sure. And then it opened up like the conversation. I was like, oh my goodness. So they kind of said how tight it was, finances. Then they kept on telling me all the things that they do. And then I walk outside, and she's driving brand new Lexus, and he has a brand new Chevrolet, jacked up, tricked out, brand new. They put on, and so that means he took off the factory rims and tires and put on some, and then went up 3 inches with the vehicle. And he turns around to me and he says this, Nick. He says, "Man, after today, you're gonna judge me now." And I said, "Dude, everything's on you, man. Everything that you have, God's given it to you. It's on you, and you got to figure that out." But when he told me, and that was it, the conversation. And so, so do you know, like when we were talking about it, I really felt like they didn't. I was confused why that, you know, they had all these. It came up that they had these issues with finances, and then I happened to flip through, and I look, because they have to put down how much money they make, and then I saw it, and then we talk it out, and I remember just sitting there going, a little bit as they were talking, I was speechless, bro. Like, how could you making $250,000? It's not like you own a business.
Right.
2 awesome jobs. You just plug in 9 to 5, pull out, you know, and then you put your hours in and pull out. But you felt like you deserved to have all this, and now you have marriage problems and because of money, and you're laughing and joking about it, and you have these. I was going, man, but I didn't look at them as if they have a lot of money.
Right.
I look at them as if they have a lot of debt.
Yeah.
Because they don't pay their credit cards off. They don't pay all this stuff. And I'm like, man, this is the endless cycle. You may have all these toys, but you're still like, you owe somebody something.
Right.
And so there's no freedom, financial freedom. And so, but it was a marriage issue, dude.
Yeah.
So as a man, I was going, are you kidding me, dude? But have you ever seen somebody like $250,000 a year? That means in 3 years, income has been $1 million.
Right.
Can you imagine that? 3 years, you have $1 million. People go on reality TV shows to get $1 million, and then you just choose. And then even the point too is of going, you're just going to throw $20, and that you really don't go and help anybody out with your finances. Like, I just go, are you kidding me? If I had that much money, and it's not just me, but I know people who are very generous, and you know them too. They're in your church. People are very, very generous and want to help people, and I want to do that, and I don't even make, you know, I look like I'm in poverty because my wife is just like your wife, stay-at-home mom. And so she homeschools, and my wife homeschools, and she takes care of the home, and she has a job. She has a serious job but we're on one income is what we are. And so I have to be a good steward. It's my role to be a good steward of the money and to leave my home.
Well,
so.
it makes me wonder, people, you know, you don't know all of their background, if they came out of money or a comfortable situation. That's why I often want, kind of concerned for my own kids. You know, we struggled more when I was coming up. While we weren't as bad off as others, there were still, you know, we didn't have all that others have, and we've talked about that. And so when you experience those things, you understand how generosity benefits other people and helps other people. The other is, I believe, it glorifies God in our finances. It puts him first. And when we do that, I do believe he takes care of us and he provides for us. But it also helps us to get our priorities right. Yeah. And if we are going to put God first, then obviously we're also going to be living by other principles that, you know, he establishes for us, which is going to help us to prioritize the other things. And I tell our church often, just as an example, I believe as a leader, you go first. And I believe it's the same thing as husbands and fathers, that we lead the way for our family. We teach generosity. We teach those priorities. But, you know, what I make, we give 10% off the top gross income, because I joke, but I've heard others say it as well, but I'm not giving to government before I give to God.
There you go.
So whatever I earn gross, I'm giving 10% of that as a starting point. Now, there's other things that we've done, capital stewardship campaigns for building fund, and there's been other needs that people have had, you know, when hard times come. So that's our starting point of generosity. We give that to God as a starting point. And then when there's other needs, then we have to then look at our finances and decide what we can do, what we can't do, those type of things. But it's it's a growing concern, I believe. Also, it's like as soon as our young people hit 18, they're getting hit up with credit card inquiries. You said it, if I'm going to buy this once a week or I'm going to buy this thing, I'll just pay it off. Well, then that bill comes and you see, oh, I can just pay this minimum payment and still have more money in the bank to use this. Because if our mindset is buying more and more and more stuff, then I see that minimum payment, not understanding that it could take 5 years to pay off that just by paying the minimum payment. Because if you're paying 30%,
that's right,
interest.
That's right.
A third of that is going just to interest.
Well, it's funny you say that because I've sat with people and they've asked me to look at their finances, and I'm not a big finance guru guy, and I don't know stock market or anything like that, but they've asked, hey, could I help them with their finance? And just like what you're saying, I'm telling you, this is just my personal experience. The people that I've talked to, they put that off, Nick, and then they'll say, oh, I'll pay the minimum, and then next month I've made more hours, or they say, well, I didn't have these bills come in unexpectedly, so next month I'm just going to pay all of it. So it's kind of like that lie that you tell yourself when you stay up all night long and you wake up in the next morning and you're so dog tired, you got 1 hour of sleep because you did something like you would consider foolish or whatnot, or something you really wanted to do.
Right.
And now you tell yourself that morning, I'm going to bed early tonight, or I'm not going to eat this today. And you know what you do? You don't go to bed early at night, and you go and eat something else.
I'm going to start my diet tomorrow, so I'm going to enjoy this dessert.
And you lie to yourself, right? And I think people do it all the time. Sleep is a good thing that people do, that they lie to yourself. But they do the same thing, not being evil or anything. They just do it because it's easy.
Yes.
And then next thing you know, that next month, you got that 30% added to all those Chick-fil-A's, added to a few other extra $100, but now you're paying the interest of that.
Right.
And then what happens that next month is you may get a tire that blows out.
Right.
Something else that you didn't budget for comes up. Well, next thing you know, that easily $200, $225 is now looks more like close to $500.
Right.
So now you didn't have the money to pay the first time.
Right.
And so you definitely don't have the money to pay the second time. And so it just becomes and then next thing you know, it's just snowballs. So exactly what you're saying.
Well, it's like, and Scripture tells us, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will have its own concerns. Well, we also, as the old saying goes, don't count your chickens before they hatch. Snake could come in, whatever, and take the eggs. You may not have those eggs. So if you're counting them before they've hatched. So essentially that's what you're doing with credit, is you're saying, oh, I'll pay this next month. Well, then next month comes and you talk about the troubles that may come, the flat tire here and all that. The other is because it says something about us that I want something now. It's that instead of delayed gratification.
Oh, yeah.
I remember having to save up for my first bicycle, and it teaching me. And Gavin's great about saving his money because we try to teach that same principle. Our boys are not afraid of buying the things they need, like tools and stuff. Gavin has done that, but also, saving up for what they need and kind of putting that away.
And they're generous too.
Yeah.
Well, I think of Tristan. When I think of Tristan, I think of generosity. I know he's always got a gift for me.
Well,
he's
and some
always
of the
very
gifts
generous.
he gives to his friends, I mean, compared to what I get for birthday is wow,
you probably get a cowboy hat.
Pack of
cigarettes.
He's very generous to his friends. But they learn to save. We try to teach them that.
That's right.
Okay, if you want that, you got to save. And they've also experienced where they've decided in the moment, I've been saving, but I want this. Okay, well, you're gonna have to use the money you've been saving, and then all of a sudden, that thing they wanted long term is going to take them longer because it's not there. And so it says something about us that we have not practiced delayed gratification. We want the instant gratification. And so therefore I'll put it on credit card. Well, then because that is our nature and that's how we act, then, this store now has a sale. Oh, there's a special on a cruise for the family vacation. Oh, this has popped up. So now not only are you contending with the challenges of life, but you also have the, those specials that pop up, Black Friday sale, all this stuff. And now it's so easy. They say you spend more money. I think this is a Dave Ramsey, saying he may have gotten this from somewhere else, just like the envelope system's not his.
That's right.
He teaches it, but it's
It was
been
some Hazel
around for
Gay for
years.
me.
Yeah. So, but I believe it's him who I first heard say that on the credit cards, using a debit card or a credit card, you spend more because you don't see it. Take $100 bill and go to the convenience store and go to buy like a pack of gum or something very cheap, and you go, hold on, I'm going to pay 89 cents. I'm going to break this $100 for this 89 cent. No. But if it's a card, you don't even think about it because you don't see it.
That's right.
Leaving your hand. And that's almost like the credit card. Like you're just swiping it. You're not having to come out of pocket. And so, I would encourage young people, don't buy into the credit card lie. I'm not saying credit cards are bad. They're positive in a couple ways that I can say right offhand. One, you have to be very disciplined with it, with like anything else. And if you use it, it can be beneficial because you can get points and rewards and things like that.
That's what I do.
A business owner here locally who are very successful business owners, they use a couple of credit cards to pay their monthly bills, their routine bills. And at the end of the year, they get like $2,000 or $3,000 back. But we pay it this month, we pay it off when the bill comes in. It's just like, essentially they're deducting it from their bank account as they spend it because they're going to pay that payment. So that can be beneficial. You can get free flights. You can get, there's all sort of benefits that you can use if you're disciplined in it. And then the second is when ordering things online, reserving hotel rooms, things like that. We have had cases where our information gets stolen. Someone hacked into an account and used one of our cards. And credit card companies are really great about offering protection on, fraudulent purchases and stuff like that versus a debit card coming directly out of your account. If someone gets a hold of that, then your whole account can be frozen or can be affected by someone financially getting into it. So those are a couple of reasons, but that is only with the discipline of I am spending this, but I'm like deducting it because it's going to be paid this coming month.
That's right.
I'm not going to get the bill and go, oh, well, I can pay the minimum and then use the rest of my money for more fun and more stuff. And so, I don't want to be Dave Ramsey and go, oh, cut up all your credit cards. I understand for some people they need to do that. It's like some people don't need to drink alcohol because they're alcoholics, and just a sip will send them spiraling. Some people don't need to be around certain things. Some people don't even need to have a bite of cake because they're going to like spiral out of control. There's certain things they need discipline from. They don't even need to be around it. And so if you've got a spending problem, then maybe you don't need that. You just need to use cash. But there are benefits, I think. But our young people need to like learn early.
That's right.
Because this is credit card debt that's grown $50 billion. That's not consumer debt as in like houses.
Oh yeah.
Vehicles. You mentioned the 2 new vehicles, the other debt that we get ourselves into.
Yeah, I see that with young people nowadays with cars. That's been something recently. Talked to a lot of when I say young people, I mean like in their 20s. And they just been wanting that newer car, never had one.
Right.
And they go and they get a high interest rate. And then you know what happens? The car, that bill comes in the next month's bill. And then so they got to pay that. And, then they didn't jump in their career path that they wanted. And now they quit their job and look for another job because it's not what they really, really want to do. And sometimes you just got to do what you don't want to do, to make money, to pay the bills. But like you, I use a credit card that gives me Marriott points. And so there is a once a year fee that you pay, and it's like $125. And then I get a free night stay up to so many 35,000 points, which actually can pay a hotel room from anywhere from $125 to $150 to $300 and something a night. And the amount of points that we put on in a year, we usually do 2 vacations if the Lord wills, that we will have 1 vacation and we'll see my wife's family in Florida, and every point will have points. It pays for all the hotel stay, everything right near the beach and everything. We'll stay on vacation this year. We won't go there for one. We'll do there in the fall, but this vacation that we'll do in May, we'll go for 5 days and stay at actually Jekyll Island, and we'll stay right on the beach. and every bit of those points are taken care of. And when I went to Atlanta with my daughter's 13th birthday, we took her up there. We stayed in a nice hotel and with the Marriott, and I used points. And the way that we do it, we just do it where we pay it off every month, and then every year there's enough points there to where we can stay at somewhere really nice and just cash in all those points. But I look at those points like, man, we worked hard for those points.
Right.
So I'm trying to find something that takes away 2/3 of those, leaves the third in the pot. And then, then you get a free stay. So that little $125 like fee you do every year, it gives you a free night stay up to 35,000 points. It doesn't put those 35,000 points in your bank. It just gives you a certificate for a free night stay.
Nice.
So I just know that I have a free night stay to use. And so you'll have a third of points, and then you'll always have a free night stay to begin the next year.
Yeah.
And dude, it's awesome. It's been one of the greatest things. And then I hustle on the side, and then I squirrel away money, cash in an envelope. I get to a certain amount that my wife and I discussed that we're going to go on vacation. And if it works for us to go second half of the year, then we'll go. And we always go to see family. And so kind of a dual purpose deal. And then this is, that's how we do our stuff in on one income. But being strategic with your funds, keeping your eyes on it, that's like, you've got to have a pulse on it. And so, yeah.
Well, being that we've talked a bit on this episode and probably need to start moving towards wrapping it up, what would you say are some quick solutions to not get wrapped up in poor financial management or, managing your finances well? I've got a few thoughts in my head. You may say them first, and so I'll just ditto them if so. But what are some thoughts right off the top of your head before we close out?
I would say, and you actually mentioned it in the text you have, and so like I really don't. I think it always starts with your heart, gratitude, being grateful. When you're grateful, you're more than likely content. And so I think that I really would do a deep search if you're listening, do a deep search on like, what are you grateful for?
Yeah.
And I think you should be grateful for the ability to walk and to talk and to look yourself in the mirror and know who you are. The things that we take for granted, obviously, that we're in good health and we have the ability to go to a gym and, and even going to a gym, that's a privilege. It's not a right. And so we pay for a gym membership and we see the value in fitness and taking care of family and a responsibility. And so, but having that, and I think out of the overflow, like you're grateful and it creates a contentness. And then that's going to help you regardless of how you spend money. It's going to help give you a good pulse on where the money is spent. And then out of that being grateful, hopefully it births, it's planted some seeds of generosity in you that you want to be generous, that you go, like I just want to help people because you see the benefit of even the small things that are in your life and you're content. So you don't want things for yourself. You want everybody else to have. Absolutely. And then that's a cycle. I mean, like if everybody cared about everybody else and, the world would be in a better place. And so I think that helps, if you, oftentimes we say this, and I say so much that my kids and student ministry and people I work with, like athletes, I know they can just repeat this. But the truth of the matter is, if you look at what you don't have, you'll forget about what you do have.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of the starting point. I would say. What do you got?
And I agree with you on the contentment side of things. When you're content, I'm at that place in life. I'll get extra money, and I'm like, what do I need? I don't need anything, so I'll be able to store it away or hold on to it for maybe something special, something nice. As well, gratitude when you do come from less and you do come from different situations, then being grateful, for what you do have also goes a long way. And I believe that leads to contentment. I would say, just some quick points that are basic, probably been heard before, but it comes back down to, once again, discipline. This is one area where contentment, I would say you need to be content. When it's your fitness and things like that, to me, people are content with not being the best
100%.
version of themselves.
Yeah.
When it comes to possessions and things like that, being content with what God has provided.
Yeah.
God's provided
That's good,
it
dude.
for
That's
you.
Good.
And once again, he provides for your needs, not your wants. Oftentimes, because we give to our wants, we don't have for our needs, and then we complain.
Yep.
And then we need GoFundMe's, and we need people to raise funds for us, and we need people to bail us out. And it's like, I've had people come asking for help for, groceries, and they're, in their car smoking a pack of cigarettes. And it's like, that's a pack of meat right there for your family. So
that's a bunch of pack of meats for the squatly dogs.
Right, absolutely. So being disciplined in the sense of budgeting, sitting down, figuring out what you make, giving a portion at the top, being generous. If you're a follower of Jesus, that starts with your local church, then goes to other places. But the local church is the primary spot,
That's
not
right.
parachurches, not other organizations. The local church is the vehicle that God has chosen to deliver the gospel and the good news to the world. And so you start there, be disciplined. What do I make? And then live within those means. I heard one guy at a conference say that, we as followers of Jesus, pastors, when we want to get people to be generous, we've got to help them make a 20% swing, because a lot of people are living at 110% of their income. So even if they were going to give 10%, if they're living at 110%, they're living on credit cards. They're living in debt.
That's right.
So you have to help them. So, some education goes a long ways as well. That's why we're doing this today, to maybe help some people get 1% better in their finances. And so what do I make? What do I need to sell? What do I need to get rid of? What can I get rid of that's wants instead of needs, so I can get out of that debt? And I can live within my means. So if I'm paying for a house and a vehicle, and with the insurance and the maintenance and all those things that come with it, and I can't afford it, so I'm having to put it on credit cards, well, you might need to sell it, and you might need to get something that is a cash car until you can pay for something else. It's sacrificing on the front end so you can have a more comfortable life on the back end. And so we worked hard to get out of debt, not house and vehicle. That's the debt we have. We have no credit card debt. We do not use credit cards in that way. We used to. We learned our lesson, and so we live within our means now. We pay cash. You're always getting hit. Hey, you can save 10% on this, purchase if you get our credit card. No, thank you. Here's cash, or I'm going to use my.
Well, then there's
card.
some places they will give you a discount if you pay cash.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
I've been there's even doctor's appointments, that you can go to, that you can balance out through your provider, and you look, and you can, if you just ask a question, how much would this cost if I just paid cash?
Yeah.
Because after your deductible and all this, you start looking at it, and you're like, it won't count against your deductible, but you begin to look at it and you're like, well, this, by the time it hits me for my deductible right now, I don't look like there'd be a serious injury. I'm gonna pay $300, but they may charge you $150.
Yeah.
I know that we go to dermatologists, and that's what we do when we've been real healthy. Middle of the year, we don't expect anything. We always, beginning of the year, we don't do that. Like now, we wouldn't do it. But about July, August, whenever we go, we always ask, and they'll go, oh, well, if you pay this, and it's usually way cheaper. I mean, literally, it's like $330 something dermatologist, and then we chose to pay cash, and it was $150 flat rate.
Yeah.
I was like, man, it just saved me $165 or something like that.
And a lot of restaurants will save the credit card processing fee.
That's right.
If you use cash.
They tack it on to your deal.
So and when I say cash, it could be debit card as well, but it's not credit. It is coming out of our bank account with what we have. And then, I would say, living within your means, saving, for what you want, sacrificing on the back end, but then also an emergency fund. That's one of the things that really helped us, and that goes back into your savings, is, if you have a washer or a dryer or a transmission or something like that go out, that if you don't have an emergency fund, where do you think that money's going to come from?
Yeah.
A credit card. You're going to have to go get one, or if you have one, you're going to have to put it on there. And so putting money aside, over the last couple of years, we've tried to rebuild that back up, but we had a condenser unit go out. Then I had my transmission and my, torque converter go out. And so, if we had not been saving, and had some people not been generous to us around my birthday and Christmas, that would have been credit card debt. So, so those are just a few things I would say to help young people, or even those who are maybe not so young, but they are maybe finding themselves with some of that financial strain because it's just not going to serve you well. It's not going to serve your family well. And even if something happened to you, then those creditors and those those that you owe debt, they're going to come after your family, and they're going to owe that debt.
You're setting them up wrong. Well, I'll tell you real quick. One, what we did, and when we got married, we actually like you, we gave off to the top. What was left over, we made sure this is how we formulated a budget. We gave to the top, looked at our monies, and then we put $100 went automatically out of our account to TIA Creft account, and it just was gone. Okay. And we didn't even look at it. So that was automatically gone. And then, and so we had nothing in savings at all. So what we did was we looked at all the bills that would come in. We put it on average. We averaged them out like higher when we anticipated for a whole year. Even like winter, using summer, you use the AC unit. So I just averaged out, this is how much everything's going to cost. We put it all in the numbers, the figures, and then that's how we came up with this is the leftover money we'll have.
Yeah.
Everything was averaged out, went up higher, and so for a whole year. So we knew this is how much we had, and then out of that we created like that we could do a date night type of thing. We had no other money so what happened was every month the cycle we put everything on the first. And so you had, they usually give you like a 2-day grace period and you pay your bills for some places. And so after that, it would come out. I would take out all the money and leave $100 in the bank. That's it. I would take all the money. So if it's like extra $250, I would leave $100. I take out $150 and I put it in savings. And that's how I started the whole savings thing. And then in the next month, I did the same thing. And what happened is that there was an emergency fund. I had money that was built up in savings. Yeah. And I would just evaporate it. But what I didn't know, what you didn't think about was I never would think about that TIA Creft. I didn't even realize what we put in there, honestly, until we left after 3 years Louisville. And I came working at Greenbrier. And then we had all that money. And that was just sitting in the bank. At that point, it had interest. And it was like $4 grand. Wow. It was like, oh, wow. I was like, and by that point, my wife just got out of, student teaching. But I'll tell you this is something that we do, just something very practical. And I'll turn it over to you because I know we got to shut things down. A little pop-up things that if we want to go do something, like a little trip, a day trip or an overnight trip, and when you're living in within a budget, something really tight, what we found good to do is we try 1 to 2 times a year to do a yard sale. A family yard sale. So the kids get all their stuff out, we get our stuff out, and we put it out and do a yard sale. Yeah. And then we make money. And it's usually less than $200. We put it in it's cash and it sits in a Ziploc bag, and we write on it. And then we collect 2 of those. It's usually almost $500 every time. Wow. In a year. That's our pop-up money. We want to go to do if there's a good sale on the Great Wolf Lodge. There was one time it was like super cheap. It was like $180 for us to go for one night with all the kids and everything. It was like some big time special they ran, flash sale. And then we had the money to do it. We pull it out. I was grateful for Wolf Lodge money. We took out another $70. Ended up being $250 or something like that. And then we used that to buy Wendy's on the way up there and all that. And it didn't hit budget. I mean, it was like, here I am looking like a king to my kids. But I just got a chance to let them know, hey, listen, you guys contributed to this. Yeah. This is your trip. And so now in our we got to do another spring yard sale. But it's I just thought about this when you're saying I have and it's in there. I think it's like $237 and some quarters or some change in there. But it has on there, this is the Great Wolf Lodge money. Yeah. And so, which my kids are out of that. They've kind of grown out of that, so they don't really care about it. So we'll look at something else that we may want to go do. But that's a good thing to do, is that find stuff, because what you may consider junk, somebody may consider it a treasure.
Sure.
And so,
well, and part of getting 1% better, in this area, there are books, podcasts, there are all kind of educational stuff on retirement. Young guys start retirement early, start investing in that, on and on. We could spend a lot of time on this because it is such a big need. but we do need to wrap up. And so I do want to say thank you to those who have left reviews, who have rated the podcast. That has tremendously been a help. Others are finding us. We're now, I think we've grown to an additional country where the podcast has reached. And so thank you so much for helping share it. I know some of you are telling people word of mouth. And so thank you in all the ways that you're sharing it. If you would continue to do so, especially as you find this content helpful and beneficial to your own life, we would greatly appreciate it, as my own dad did. The OG, Papa Carnes, shared some feedback. If you've got some feedback, you can send that to us. All that contact information is in the show notes. Connect with us on social media. And we'll be glad to connect with you there, just as Michael did. And so thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for your faithful tuning in every couple of weeks. We greatly appreciate it. And as we say, every episode, get 1% better every day.
That's it.
See ya.
Thank you for joining the Male Cartel podcast. Be sure to subscribe and share to help other men join the cartel. You can also keep up with us on social media and at malecartel.com.